welcome to my channel. I just got a notification. I'll listen to this real quick. Okay, so while I get this set up, I hope you're having an amazing day. And so I'm going to get this going here, the duo recorder. So that way we can record what I'm doing here. Start now. We're going to start. Alright, so some of my favorite travel apps. Now, I have a Samsung S10 Plus. You know, with the lenses and all that good stuff. Anyway, and so you can see here somewhere, that I use this, I have my travel stuff kind of put into these folders, as well as you can see other stuff. I usually have more on this page, but some of the things you don't need to see, so I moved them to another page. And so this is kind of how it looks when I'm doing stuff, but we're going to specifically just touch on the travel apps that I love, that literally I will have to have in there. There are other ones in there, but these are the ones that I'm going to be using more on a day-to-day, not a day-to-day basis, but it could be a day-to-day basis, whatever. So this is what I'm using. So I want to make sure I like kind of minimize this video so that way it's not like super lengthy. So I'm hoping you get the idea of some of why and how I use these apps. Alright, so the first kind of folder I have in here is more about planning and things like that. So I'll use this here, which you can see it just has hotels, airlines, Airbnb, things like that. So this is more like my planning type thing, where I may find, like in travel, TripAdvisor and Groupon, you may be able to find deals on excursions and things like that. I'll also go and search other areas, but these are kind of the ones I keep, on my phone. My primary use of looking for flights is Kayak. So that is my number one. I'm looking for specific flights. It seems to work really well. Skyscanner would probably be right there at the second one. It would be like that next one. And that's because it provides another, it provides, I think, a little more European or over the seas type of options. And I don't know why that is compared to Kayak. I don't really know. But it seems like it provides more options of other areas. Secret flying is a new one to me. And basically it's more about just looking for something, no real dates. You can just kind of put it in there and it'll give you kinds of options. And then it'll take you to the Skyscanner website to actually book. Sometimes it is a third party, but it's still, you're going through the Skyscanner app, which actually makes me feel a little bit safer using that. But the Kayak is my number one. And, but I've used them all. So say, for example, here I'm looking for our flights to Fort Lauderdale for our cruise down, the group cruise that's going to be happening, which pretty much everybody knows about. But I've been looking for flights in there. And what the good thing is that if you're looking at some of these flights, you can adjust it based on when you actually can actually get to the airport, or actually leave like the cruise to the airport, so like a later time, like noon or something. So you can go in here and filter this. Oh, that's from LA. So from Fort Lauderdale, I probably wouldn't leave until like noon-ish. And then you click on that and it'll give you the flights. So you can search based on best, cheapest, quickest, earliest, whichever one that you seem to find. Now the only thing with this one that I can't seem to figure out is on the earliest. On the website you can actually choose earliest from Fort Lauderdale, like your return flight, and in here it doesn't, I can't figure out how to it lets me do that. I'm sure there's a way, but I haven't figured that out yet. But usually I just click on it on the website and it'll drop down and I can choose from that airport when I'm going to be coming back. You also have to watch on this because I chose Miami. I chose Fort Lauderdale, but obviously this says Miami in here where it says MIA. And so you have to look and make sure. Now, those airports are, I don't want to say they're interchangeable, but I mean, pretty much it's almost the same. I mean, in my eyes. So I think the last time we went, we flew into Miami and we flew out of Fort Lauderdale. One of the things that I've actually done with a lot in looking for flights is that I'll actually do round trip and then I actually will do one way. For some reason, I have actually got flights cheaper when I've done one way, separately, so separate flights. I've gone in and I booked a one-way flight, which was a super good deal for like $100, and then I waited on the return flight and I finally got a good deal on it. So sometimes that can be helpful. I don't believe you have to do a round trip. I mean, if you find a good deal, I mean, some of these prices are pretty decent right now. But obviously, like this 9 o'clock, this one right here, this one right here, getting into LA at midnight and then driving home for like 2.5, 3 hours is not my cup of tea when I have to go to work the next morning at 7:30. So, there's different things like that. So, what I noticed is that the return flight is my main flight. That's the critical flight on getting back because the time frame, if you have a 7 a.m., 7 to 9 a.m., or a later flight, those are kind of your best pricing. Usually it's that anywhere that window between like 10 and 2 o'clock where your prices are going to really go up, and because those are prime hours. You know, people are checking out of their hotel and they don't want to have to rush and things like that. But so you have to kind of go with that. With the cruise, it's a little bit different. So looking at using these apps and stuff, it really does help to narrow down those options. Now, do I actually book through some of these flights? Yes, I have. I have booked through some of these apps. Yes, I have. I booked through some of the apps and I have never had an issue. My flight to Europe was booked through Kayak. And I didn't have an issue. I don't even remember how much I got. I'd have to go back and look, but it was $600, I think, for a round trip. And so, but I've done the whole not our last flight to New Orleans, but our last flight to Florida, I did one way over there, and then I booked a separate one later for back. And we actually, we got I think the whole round, ended up being the round trip was like under $300 per person. So you really just have to navigate through some of these apps. The other apps I have in there as a reason is because if I book it not through the airline if I do, I always want to make sure I have those apps available to open them up. These are the primary ones that I do use for flying. My local airport has American and United. It's a very small airport. Actually, you can whiz through there in no time. You could probably arrive 30 minutes before, or maybe even 15 minutes before boarding, and you will get through just fine. Except this last time, my friend, I was in, and my friend tried to get, oh my gosh, I was like, where are you? We're boarding. And she's like, she got stuck in security, which the lady in front of her didn't want to take off her jacket. So they had to call the female person out to do the whole check on it. It was a mess. So, and she was behind her, so she had to wait. Go figure. So, and I think everybody got patted down because I got patted down, my friend got patted down, and obviously the lady who didn't want to take off her coat got patted down. All right. Another one that I really love is Airbnb. I like being able to go in here and find different options. So they have stays, experiences, and adventures. So you can actually find different things to do in some of these places that you visit, which is really great. It also gives you options on just putting in the location, and then you can search without really putting dates in, and then you can just look on that particular Airbnb calendar to see where, if you want to go, or when you can go, if you have available dates, or you can be specific and put your dates in. Most people have used this Airbnb app, but you know, they have the kind of the super host and things like that. But I like the fact now that they have actually added in some like these excursions and stuff like that, which is really kind of nice for like us cruising people. So even if you don't book an Airbnb, they actually have also adventure type things as well to do in a lot of places. So just keep that in mind. So we can click on that. And you can see they have like, so there's a glamping trail ride, and then of course Malibu surfing, and then some under $500 regions, so you can click on certain regions and stuff. So all of this is like really kind of cool to be able to see. Oh, my Amazon package was delivered. Yeah. So that's kind of nice to have and see. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about excursions and stuff, even when you're on the cruise, because there are also stuff like this where you can use your Airbnb instead of just using it for like stays. All right, so my favorite app for stays in hotels is the Hilton app. Now, I like Hampton Inn. I like the options that they provide within Hilton. IHG is a very close second, but Hilton has been my go-to. The reward points, I've actually stayed free with using the rewards. I've stayed free in IHG hotels because of the reward points. I have been really lucky with using Hilton. I haven't had a bad experience, which is really nice. So Hilton is actually, it's nothing basically fancy on their app. I mean, so I'm gonna pick Pismo here because we are actually going to be going, my daughter and I are going to be going to Pismo for the weekend in a couple weeks, and I'm really excited to go, and I'm going to meet a friend there, my YouTube friend, who I actually pretty much talk to pretty much every day. So here, I pulled up Pismo, and it gives you kind of like if you want to use your points or if you want the room rate. So it gives it right there on the app, and then it also will list it by the map. You can still filter this if you want to. You can filter it down to different things, amenities and things like that. So you have those options. Like if I wanted, it'll tell you breakfast. I always choose the breakfast ones, but you never know. All right. So this is so this is pretty easy here. Just kind of scroll through that, and of course you can use your points and stuff, and that's always nice. And then if you want to see what's coming up, that's coming up. So excited. All right. And I like the fact you can do the digital check-in. I like the fact that sometimes you can choose your space in your room. Not all locations have this, but you can click on the floor plan and you can choose your location. And and they work with Lyft, so that's always a plus for me. So yay. All right. So there's that. There's those two. Now, so that's the two primary ones. I do use TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor is another favorite of my apps. And it's basically to look to see things that I want to do in the area, which is something I like. I like the go through the fast lane, don't have to skip the line. I don't like any of that. So I can get through all of those by pre-ordering tickets and stuff. So I will use TripAdvisor for that, and they have other things here that you can do in here. But I usually use it for the things to do in different areas. So say we're going to go to Aruba, and it will give you day, cultural, and it'll break it down based on what type of adventure you're looking for, or you can just scroll through and just see if different things to do. So, and then it'll give you options. If you want to go to Palm Beach, then it'll give you options like a party bus tour, or what's that, the Lighthouse Tour, and then you can click on it and read the reviews and stuff. So this is primarily where I have booked my excursions when I've done a lot of land vacations, and I think I've done it once, maybe twice when I've gone on cruises. I've done it. Once for sure that I remember, and I'm thinking one more. And so that's kind of the way to go with that. Travel to is basically when I am on the ship or on the place I'm at or whatever. I usually will go into a lot of these, and you can see it's kind of like the ones where I'm going to use the most. So of course the cruise apps are in here, and Six Flags and Universal, because Universal I went to a lot last year with my grandkids. And so, but the main app in here, or a couple of the main apps in here are, so Gas Buddy. So if I'm doing a land vacation and I'm road tripping, like going somewhere, this is actually really, really good to use. And I'm just going to click on this. All right. So this is kind of my local area, and okay, it's California, so don't like judge on the pricing of the gas here. It's not $4 anymore. Well, it could be if I keep looking. But basically it'll tell me how close it is, where it is. It'll actually give me directions and stuff. But I like using this, especially if you're trying to save. So as you can see on the top, it has the range of gas pricing, and it helps me to know like where I can save the most. If I'm over on the other side of town and I need to get gas, and I can click on this and it'll give me the best one, give me directions to it. If I go, if I'm in Los Angeles, I can do it. If you're anywhere, you can use this app. And usually what will happen is this is based on people putting stuff in. So if you're there and you see the prices change a little bit, you can go in and actually update it and say this is what it was at this time. So this really helps all drivers around there. So, and then you can also choose like the type of gas you're using too, which actually helps people, especially like truck drivers and stuff. All right, so Gas Buddy is actually another one of my favorites. TruckSmart and Loves, those are actually really good if you're doing long road trips, especially with children. I'm not going to go into them, they're not part of my top favorites, but I just want you to know about them. They actually are good for, like, they have washrooms, they have laundry facilities, they have, they're great, they're truck stops. So I always feel like it's pretty safe in those areas. And but they have the facilities. They have restaurants. They have clean restrooms. They usually have really nice stuff in there. Some even have like post offices and all kinds of stuff. So just those are ones that I keep on here. Just if I'm going to be going a longer place, I can click on those and know that I can pretty much stop anywhere. Especially, I wish something like this was around my kids were younger, because I remember, like, if one of them vomits on themselves or something, I literally would have like a really clean place to be able to shower them up or clean them up really good. So anyway, but the next one in here, of course, is Lyft. I love Lyft. They are my go-to. I don't use Uber. That's personal choice. There's a couple reasons why. My friend, very good friend, had told me quite a while ago. I haven't used them in a really long time, because they told me that they were not supportive of the LGBTQ plus community, and I don't remember the specifics on it, but I'm like, he is the guy to tell me this stuff, and I trust him, and so I haven't used Uber since then. In the meantime, I actually had, and I've never discussed this, I had an Uber driver hit me, and while he was on a call, and he didn't have insurance personally, but he was on a call, so I had to deal with Uber company, and my insurance had to do with Uber company. My car was totaled. The guy was, let me tell you, I had a Dodge Durango. It's a big car, like the version before the now version. It's a big car, and he totaled my car. So anyway, it was a nightmare trying to deal with Uber. It was a nightmare. So I'm kind of glad that I never used them. And so, and that's just my personal opinion. I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody right now, but that is just my personal opinion, and that's the reason why I don't use them. But I do use Lyft, and I actually have not had a bad issue with them. I think there's always bad drivers out there anywhere. I mean, but of course you put your review on, you put your comment on, you don't tip, whatever. But that's my thing. But Lyft is my go-to app for any kind of car service, any kind of thing. I prefer to use Lyft for anything. And so I actually will use them. All right. So my next one, favorite app, is the Translate app. This one actually will translate anything, and it's absolutely a godsend when you are in other countries. You just have to make sure that your phone, that you have the right tools within your phone to actually use some of these apps also. So just remember that. But it gives you all the different things, and when I was in Italy, this really did help a lot. So you can actually use it with the camera, and you can translate. I'm getting like my mug in here with my lipstick on it, and it'll do that. You can, whoops, or you can do the handwritten where you're just, you know, typing it in, of course, right here. So you can write like chair, and then it'll pop up. So something like that. And then you could actually put it in as a conversation. Hello, how are you?
Come una conversazione. Ciao, come stai?
So you can use it in a lot of different ways. So it actually really does help when you're traveling to different countries. So the Google Translate is the one that I use primarily, and I love it. So anyway, I don't speak a whole lot of anything else, like a little bit of slang Spanish, and that's about it. All right, so those are my favorite apps. That is about it, and you can see how I kind of, oh, I gotta like cut the record off. Recording is done. Stop, stop, stop. There we go. So that is it. So if you have any favorite apps that you like to use that are helpful to other people, please leave a comment below. If you like this video, give it a little like, and don't forget to subscribe. Take care. Have a great day.